I don't know why I keep doing all these little walks and tours, but the light today fascinates me. It is now 8 o'clock in the evening and the sun is setting, and that's the sky that we have there. And many of you viewers will be familiar with my aeroplanes flying into Gatwick Airport. We've had a lovely day. It is Easter Monday and it's been very quiet because for some reason we forgot to tell people that we were open. We normally shut on a Monday, but there you go. I'm continuing my little talk about Deshojo Maples because we have lots of examples. So there's another big one. This is one that I grew in a flower pot, and I'm going to talk to you about the Deshojo and the color of Deshojo. When people see these gorgeous Deshojos, they think that these trees stay this red all the year round. Not so. This tree has just come into leaf this past week. They all come into leaf at different times, slightly different, varying between few days and maybe as much as a week. So this one growing in this flower pot, the trunk I would say is about 5 inches in diameter and the nebari must be about 8 or 10 inches. And I've grown it in a broom style. It'll never be a bonsai, but I just grow it as a lovely garden tree. And look at that vivid red color. I was telling you a moment ago about them turning orange. They do turn orange, and there is one little branch there which is already turning orange, and this is where the sun shines on it too much and it turns it orange, and then in due course it'll turn green. There's another Deshojo in the background there. I have so many Deshojos, it's almost untrue. Look at that one there. That's also a tree about 10 foot tall, growing among all the other trees, and that one is also turning slightly orangey color, but this one has still got the red color. This of course is a mountain maple, and while I'm talking about Deshojos, I will go to another spot and show you the Deshojo. In case you think I'm cheating, I'm not, because the light is funny but the colors are still very true. These are Deshojos that we've been growing on the nursery for the last 10 years from very young plants, and they are now offered for sale. There are some big ones there and they're still red. They haven't started turning color. I will make a record to show how they change color in these next 10 days or so. They will change to green. So if I record the progress of these Deshojos, you can see that I'm not trying to fool you or cheat you, but I just wanted to talk about how Deshojos change color, because many people keep thinking that they stay this red all year, but I will show you the progress. Now this one is a nice deep red. It hasn't started changing yet. So is this one, and so is that one. This one has started changing slightly paler color. Can you see the difference between that one and this one? Now there's another big Deshojo there. That one is still red. It's been red like that for about 3 weeks. So that has stayed red for a very, very long time. I'm passing all the other trees so that you can get a glimpse of them. I'm taking you to one of my favorite Deshojos. This is a huge one. This one I used to exhibit at Chelsea many, many years ago. Look at that beautiful nebari on that tree. So that tree would be about 1 meter tall, and that pot is about certainly more than 60. It's more like 65 centimeter. So the tree may be a little more than 1 meter tall. So continuing my walk and showing all my Deshojos. This one is a Deshojo, homemade one. And this one is already turning that slightly orangey color. So if I compare it with the Deshojo at the back, you see how red that one is. And this one is a slightly paler color because it's starting to turn orange. So if I may just walk you slowly, I don't want to walk too fast in case you get giddy. Walking past all these new Satsuki azaleas. When they come into flower, I'm going to show you a feast and a riot of color. It will be so spectacular. I've got 50 new Satsukis from Japan, so we will show you what they look like. So we will show you some more Deshojos. This is not a Deshojo, this is Asahi Zuru. And this one has got pink, cream and green leaves. That one is a Benichidori. Benichidori has a very soft pink color and they turn this orangey color very quickly. These are our homemade Deshojos made from garden trees. So look at the vivid red on that one. Okay, so that's enough of videoing for today. In the next couple of days I'll take more shots to show you the progress of how these Deshojos change color. And I hope you enjoy. I'm now going to walk quietly because it's nearly 8:15 and there's a huge deer near the pond. I'm going to walk slowly and show you the deer. Oh, I think you caught a glimpse of it. It ran across. Today is Thursday, the 14th of April, and it's the Thursday before the Easter weekend. And Easter weekend is usually one of our busiest weekends when people come in droves to visit the nursery. And now it's about 6 or 6:30 in the evening, and I love taking my strolls round the nursery at this time of the day. And everything is looking glorious. As you can see, this is our Yukon Cherry, which is a slightly lime green cherry. Beautiful, beautiful cherry. It's one of the late flowering cherries. The earlier white ones have finished flowering. Taihaku is the pure white one. That's finished flowering. My magnolias have got buds already. And this is my huge mountain maple, which I planted in 1986 when it was no thicker than an inch in diameter. Now the base is about 2 foot in diameter. And this is our small leaf maple, which produces lots of very small seeds. And look at the flowers on this maple. There are literally millions of flowers. And can you imagine the number of seeds I will be getting from this tree? So we've had a very lovely winter because it's not been hard, so everything is bursting into leaf. And because we've got a very big weekend, all our grass has been mowed. This is the second mowing, so we have a very exciting weekend for all our visitors. I'm now just going to take you to this crabapple because this is absolutely glorious. Look at the beautiful flowers. This crabapple has small yellow fruit. I can't remember the name of it, but again, it's absolutely divine. So there are maples, crabapples, and the Wisterias are going to be flowering soon. This is a mountain maple which I purchased from Kyushu in a village called Yamagata. I went there in 1990 and I imported 1 container of maples and 5 needle pine. So this tree has been on the nursery for the last 32 years and it's got beautiful color. I love the different variations in the mountain maple because they're not all the same. And look at the flowers and potential seeds that I'm going to get from this tree. Not many people realize that maples flower, but these are the flower buds on the maple. I'll take you through each of the trees. This hornbeam I made for Wisley back in 1997. It was displayed, and it's been at Wisley for about 22 years. It was in Wisley since 1997 to 2000 and I would say 20. I brought it back to the nursery in 2020 because I hadn't repotted it for 20 years. So I shouldn't be telling you this, but that's the fact of the matter. And these are large Deshojo garden trees that I grow, and I grow them because I air layer the trees all the time, and this is where we propagate our own Deshojo maples, literally by the 100. When things come into leaf, the colors are this beautiful, soft, vibrant lime green, and the larches have this beautiful color. Some are more advanced than others. Look at this one. This one is barely in leaf. And yet this one, which has been out all winter, it's not been protected. It is in full leaf. This one was in the greenhouse, but this one is hardly in leaf. This is another one which has been outside all winter, and this is in leaf. So there is quite a lot of variation in the timing of the leaves emerging. Today being warm, it's about 19 degrees centigrade. Tomorrow we hope it'll be 20 degrees. And we've brought out quite a few of the maples from under the shade netting. This is a monster of a maple. This is one of the many trees that I purchased from Japan in 1993. And it has hardly thickened in all that time. So we reckon that this tree must be at least 150-year-old as a maple. This pot is over 2 foot long, so the nebari is almost 2 foot. Look at it. Absolute monster of a tree. Again, it came without any branches, so most of the branches I have developed since 1993. So many of these are long-term experiments. This is again one of my popular, very fond of doing this, where I use a router to carve a thick root to make it appear thinner. So that's a technique I've always used. So that was done when I first brought the tree in from Japan to make the nebari more interesting. I'm going to talk a lot about each of the individual trees, and I hope you will bear with me because this is going to be a long walk. I know most of you enjoy my nursery tours, so this is going to be a long one. This is another mountain maple. In fact, it's grown over rock. And that one is, I would say, 90 to 95 centimeter tall. And it's just in an informal upright style. In fact, it's grown over a small piece of rock. This is my famous elephant's foot. And this was a stump of a maple dug up from the nursery many years ago. So these are all homemade trees. This is the famous Tanuki larch. And this is the pine, Scots pine, which is the actual tree from the cover of Bonsai Masterclass. The cascading part has died, and it's being retrained and restyled in another design. Cascade Chinese juniper. Many people keep asking me, why don't you show your specimen trees? I don't like to show off. We have a lot of them. We don't need to show them all. We'll show them a few at a time. That's another major Chinese juniper. Many of these trees get loaned and hired for the Chelsea flower show. Other people hire our trees to use for flower shows, and they get the medals for it. Now let me walk you into the main entrance area. So as you come into the nursery, this is what you normally see. Another of the larches. This larch I've shown so many times. This is out here 365 days a year in the complete cold, and yet look at it, so advanced. No protection whatsoever. This is one of our leaning larches. It's about 4 or 5 foot long. Everyone admires this tree. Scots Pines. I'm now just going to take you past this tree because I forgot to mention it. If you remember, this is one of our projects of only 2 years ago, when I took a tree that had been growing in the field and planted in a flower pot for quite a few years. The roots went round and round, and I used a pickaxe and a crowbar to take all those girdling roots out. So this is only 2 years in training, and you see how it's callousing. Beautiful callousing. I've done some wiring of the branches to bring it down, because maples by habit tend to spring upwards. So this again, 2 years of training from a garden tree, that's not bad work. So the autumn color is also spectacular. There's far too much to show, but I will take you through all of them one by one. This is that maple which I've shown you before. Look at the beautiful leaves on this one, absolutely gorgeous. I've got a pair of them trained in the same style, like a twin trunk, and this I call the bookends. This tree is literally like the bookends. But I don't think any other maple has leaves as beautiful as this. Triple color, pink, cream and green. And also they're like little claws, you know, crab claws, the texture of the foliage. And as they emerge, it becomes like that. And yet within the same tree, you get this sport appearing, which hasn't got the variegation. You usually should cut out the green bits, because the green bits can take over the tree and they will cease to have the variegated coloring. Now this, I think, is Mikawa Yatsubusa, a very old tree that they developed from a garden tree, and it has beautiful color. So this is what I do remember the name of. These are pink Stellata Magnolia. These have come from Japan this year. Absolutely massive. Look at the size of the trunk. Huge. These are homemade larches, homemade hawthorn, and that's Shishigashira that we make ourselves. Many of these maples I haven't trimmed or thinned, because I'm going to do a demonstration on them to show people how to trim their maples. Bear with me, because this is going to be a long walk. This is the entrance where you come in. So if you came into the nursery, that's the entrance of the nursery, and this is what you see as you enter in. Now let me take you via a route that most people would normally take. This is how they would walk past. Some of our Deshojos and Benichidoris which are for sale. When I see a workshop tree or a YouTube video tree, I will talk about it. Like this hawthorn, if you remember, about a year ago I did a video of hawthorn that we grow in our field, and I made a video of this. This was a tree made from our homegrown material. So that's a YouTube project. Many of these Deshojos are homemade trees. That means grown from young trees on our land and made into bonsai. This is another YouTube project. This is a great big dawn redwood with enormous trunk, and I've taken about 3 air layerings from that tree. It was chopped here first, then chopped here, chopped there. So I've had about 3 chops to get it to form a good taper. That great big conker tree, that was also shown on a video that I was talking about horse chestnuts, not yet in leaf. It's got to come into leaf yet. So as we pass, I don't want to miss anything. This is a beautiful Kinomeles, or what we call Japanese quince, but it's got the most unusual color. And part of the tree died, so it's got a natural driftwood, the natural shari. It's not carved, it's all natural. So I'm training it into a form of literati. Those are our ordinary crab apples, and these are the small Hinoki cypress that we make on our nursery. They're grown from cuttings, and that's a great big Deshojo. We have some very large Deshojo specimens. I'll talk about it. And now for the first time we've displayed all our Top Gun maples. So this is one of them. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. So continuing on, this is a mountain maple. These are Japanese imports because we can't make them in the time available. A tree like that would be at least 60 years old, maybe more. That's another one. Look at the thick trunk on that one. That's a mountain maple. And that I think I imported in 2002, 2005. I do remember the dates of these trees because I purchased them personally. And I'm not in a rush to sell these because I know that they will eventually sell, but while I have them I enjoy it and I improve on it. Like I'm forever improving the nebari. Look at this one, this is the turtleback. I'm forever improving the nebari, the ramification, and I get great enjoyment from working on them. This is again one of our homemade trees. This almost looks like a katsura. Not a garden tree, but a nursery tree that we've grown in the ground and then dug up about 15 years ago and then made into a bonsai. That tree is a rare tree. I'll show you the close-up of the leaves. This one, in case you didn't know, is called Parotia Persica. I think the origin is from Persia or Iran. Iranian bonsai fans have told me that a lot of these trees grow in Iran. So that's good to know. Good to know. This is one of our collected Scots Pines, collected back more than 30 years ago. A lot of story behind these. We were allowed to collect this because the chairman of the Solon Bonsai Society got official permission from the Forestry Commission to dig up some pines, and most of these were collected in 1990 on that trip. This is another of our imports, and this I've always shown before. Look at the nebari on that, but it's root connected, so that tree is a root connected maple. Cascade Chinese juniper. Now let me walk through to this side. These are Stewartia monodelpha. These are new Japanese trees. This is Chinese quince, Cydonia sinensis. And these are hawthorn, Japanese hawthorn in pink and white. And this is the Japanese deciduous holly, Ilex serrata, and look at the base and the nebari of this tree. Nebari must be about 6 inches across at the base. 6 inches, look at it. The more you prod around, the more you see. These will sell very quickly, I'm sure. And this is the lovely display. I will just show you the creator here. Tibor, give a wave.
Hello.
And he has put on this display, and top marks to him. He and the team have put on this lovely display for Easter.
I did nothing.
They did nothing. only in the brain. Great work, Tibor.
Yeah, it's looking good now.
Looking good, certainly looking good. Yeah. I've never had the nursery looking so good for a long time. And this is again one of Tibor's creation, a crabapple forest using some really old mature trees. Again, these trees must be about 4 inches nebari at the base. So this is a huge 3-tree forest of crabapple, like an orchard. So hopefully someone will be attracted by that while it's in flower. That one, by the way, is a huge Korean hornbeam. There are too many trees to show really. And then this is our major display of major trees. Trident maple, Chinese juniper, Itoigawa. That's our black pine, my famous black pine, which I have owned since 1974. And this is the chicken plucker maple. Look at the condition of that. Dense leaves. That's why I have to leaf prune it in the middle of summer, because it is so dense. If you don't leaf prune it, they will lose ramification. Some of the fine twigs die. Some homemade junipers. This is a Korean hornbeam. Look at the ramification on this. And that used to be a 4-trunk mountain maple from Japan, and it was grown by a gentleman called Mr. Ishiguro from Kawasaki, and it lost 2 trunks or 3 trunks, but I've made it into a twin trunk tree now. That is every bit more than 4 foot tall, I would say, 4'6". Big Japanese white pine, a tanuki Chinese juniper. That is my famous mountain maple forest. You can't get trees like this from Japan easily anymore. This is a homemade squamata juniper. I think that has appeared on a YouTube project before. And this is a huge Deshojo. I must have about 6 big Deshojos, some grown from nursery trees. This one was imported from Japan. That's a Japanese yew, which Marco Inverness worked on in 2005. And now I will just walk you through our juniper corridor. This is all Itoigawa juniper. Look at the flowers and seeds of that. These are all long-term projects of juniper. This again, one example of our field-grown mountain maples. Big trunk pyrocanthus. Korean hornbeams. Korean hornbeams, very hard to get. These we got many years ago, and we're developing them and making them bigger trees. So we buy trees for the long term and then develop it over many years. Another Korean hornbeam. And if I swing the camera around, we see Japanese white pines, Chinese junipers. Lots of them, lots of them. Eat your heart out. If you came to Herons, you'll be like a kid in a candy store. These are dawn redwood forests which we make, grown from our own seedlings. And if I can now walk you through, these are new Satsuki azaleas that we imported from Japan, 50 of them, huge specimens from 2 feet to 3.5 foot tall. Yamano hikari is a common one. It's a sort of orangey pink blossom. Kobai. Okay, Kobai I know. Those of you who know your Satsuki azaleas will recognize the name straight away. That one is Meikyo no Hikari. Usually Hikari means variegated or multicolored. And that is Nakatsu no Hikari. I must try and preserve the name because once the label gets lost, you lose track of it. That is Asahi no Izumi. Ainosuki. Kotobuki Hime. Seiko no Suki. There's such a lot of variety here. So there you go. There's going to be a feast of color in a month's time because these Satsukis are going to be in bloom pretty soon, and you can still see this lovely Kanuma soil that the trees are potted in. Maples everywhere. Maples everywhere. These are Japanese Wisterias from Japan in 3 colors: white, deep purple and pink. And they're very cheap, £125 for the trees which have 2-inch thick trunks. You can't go wrong with that. Weeping willow that we make ourselves. Again, some of our homemade Deshojo Maples. Crab apples galore. Look at the crabs. Look at the crabs. This is going to be a long, long walk. These Satsukis, which have been here for several years, are never protected. They are out in the open just under this shade netting throughout the year, throughout the winter, and they keep coming out into this beautiful deep green leaf. These edible figs, Ficus carica, have been in our tunnel, so they've been brought out only in the last week. So the fruit are already developing. Look at it, beautiful fruit. They're the black fig, black turkey fig. These are the new Satsuki azaleas and the maples. Lots of them. Some of them have an unusual color. I have to get my maple book out to identify them. I can't remember all of them. There are so many maples, I think 2,000 or 3,000 named varieties. I don't know whether I walk down this aisle. Oh, I better walk down here. See, these are crab apples that we grow in flower pots to get them bigger. They're already quite old. They've got 4 to 5 inch trunks at the base, but we grow them in these flower pots so that they get even thicker. From time to time, I take the trees out of the bonsai pot because if they're in bonsai pot for too long, they tend to get weak and sick. So this is a little trick I'm letting you into. Every now and then, give the bonsai a holiday. Another of our big Deshojo specimens, 2 of them there. And these are the younger crab apples. Some are in flower, some have already finished flowering. And this is one of our old Wisterias. This is a white one. You can already see it doesn't have a hint of blue or pink, so it's definitely a white one. I think this is the white sinensis, Wisteria sinensis or Wisteria alba. I'm now going to walk you to another area. A little bonus, although this is about Deshojo, I can't help but show you all these other lovely, gorgeous maples that we have. Excuse the noise, with Easter, all the planes are going berserk. People coming back from their Easter holidays or foreign people coming to the UK to enjoy holidays here. These are new magnolias. Double Magnolia Stellata bonsai. They've got 4-inch diameter trunks from Japan, and the trees are about 50 to 70 centimeter tall. They haven't cut the young shoots off because the flowers are all born at the end of the shoots, and this is what the flowers look like. When they open in the morning, I'll take another shot to show you what they look like. So this is a diversion from the Deshojo that I've been talking about. So another big crab apple. This tree belongs to a customer. We do have customers who leave their trees here. For some reason, they trust us to look after them, like in Japan. In Japan, many of these bonsai nurseries have trees that belong to customers, and they're kept at the nurseryman's premises and used for exhibition in the customer's name. These are our starter trees: deodar cedar, Scots Pines. And for those who follow us on Instagram will know that this is our new packing shed, and we're still in the process of doing a lot of building work, so bear with us while the building work is going on. But I thought I'd let you know what we are proposing to do. These great big Japanese white pines, which I imported about 34 years ago, 1998 or 99, I imported them. I imported 6 of these trees. I have 3 of them left, and they are every bit 12 foot high. So they grace our shed or building. So I have to tidy the car park. It's looking a bit of a mess, but we will get there in the end. This is our great big oak tree, which is the inspiration for many of our bonsai. I'll walk back into the nursery. Many people think this is my Ferrari garage. No, not a garage at all. This is another corridor. As you can see, we are maple experts. If you came to the nursery, you can't help but see maples. My favorite tree, favorite species. And these are the starter trees which are used for the YouTube projects and which are very popular with people who like to make their own bonsai. As if there isn't enough maple, there's even more maples. All sorts of seedlings and cuttings of maples, hair layerings galore. That's a Deshojo pine, which is about 4.5 foot tall, and the needles are very, very small. All the candles are appearing. More maples. And while I'm here, I might as well walk you into our workshop. And this is where my YouTube videos are made. And in the winter, none of these trees have got leaves, and it is almost like a tropical jungle. They are all in full leaf. Many of these are air layerings from the 21st of April. They're in full leaf. This is a Japanese hornbeam with the flowers. These are the flowers. More projects. The smell is absolutely lovely. While I'm walking past, I just noticed this oak tree. We showed this as a project only a couple of weeks ago, where I chopped this tall oak tree in half. That's why I chopped it. And look at all the buds which are coming from the main trunk. So all these will be branches. So this tree will soon have lots and lots of new branches. Many people thought I was mad to do it, but the owner had faith in me. So I hope his faith will be amply rewarded. Again, let me show you another beautiful maple. This I think is called Asahi Zuru, but there are quite a few of these maples, so it may go by another name. Maples everywhere. Many of them are produced from air layering. I even have a lemon tree. So many projects on the go. Air layerings. Planes are working overtime because everyone going away on their Easter holidays. These are a large Blows juniper waiting to be converted into the Parotia and Blows projects. This was an old Japanese yew with a lot of driftwood. Look at the trunk, 8-inch diameter trunk. That pot is about 30 inches in diameter. Interesting project for someone. That's a blue cedar. The top broke, so I restyled and remade the tree with a new leader. These are forest groups that I've been making. And finally, this great big tree, customer's tree, that I repotted into a new pot. So on that note, I will emerge from the greenhouse back into the open. As you can see, the sun is setting. And to show that I don't just grow bonsai, I grow other plants. This is a beautiful magnolia called Susan. So I hope you enjoyed this tour.